every question you have for your life, business, personal, or otherwise, the answer is in your head somewhere.
Welcome to the Realtors Conspiracy podcast, where we are dedicated to unraveling the secrets to real estate success. I'm your host, Maud Léger, and each week we bring you insights from top realtors, entrepreneurs, and innovators, sharing their success stories, mindset, processes, motivations, and the key to their success. Join us every Monday for a new episode and discover how to crack the code to success and take your real estate business to the next level. Don't miss out on the opportunity to unlock your potential. This week, I'm speaking with Chris from Chris M. King, and today's chat is all about mastering your mind for success. Chris uses a powerful neuroscience-based approach to help realtors and entrepreneurs break through subconscious barriers and redefine their reality. He's passionate about empowering individuals, especially women, to transform their careers and unlock their full potential. Ready to shift your perspective and tap into your untapped potential? Let's get to my chat with Chris. This podcast is sponsored by Sold Right Away, the experts in real estate marketing. You work hard selling real estate, we work hard selling you. From listings to branding, Sold Right Away has you covered. For all your real estate marketing needs, visit soldrightaway.com. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us on the episode today. Let's jump right into it and tell us, how can realtors stay on top of their game?
That's a great question, and thank you for having me, because that is the question we're getting asked quite a bit. The market being what it is right now, it's unsettling, put it that way. So, the first thing I would say is to get emotionally regulated, right? Because the stress levels are not going to help us, right? I understand that there's a lot of difficult things happening right now. So the first thing is breathe, like calm down, spoiler alert, everything turns out just fine, right?
And then how do you support realtor? Tell us a little bit more about that part of you.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of phone calls for because the agents are really struggling right now. Then they're stressed out, and that's not helping. And so a lot of it has really been emotional regulation tools. How do we go in and kind of lighten the mood? How do we realign them from their mental framework of all the things they can't do and all the stress and the frustration and things that aren't working? How do we shift that into a mindset of possibility and even probability? Because when you are coming from a place of that level of friction and contraction, it's very difficult to succeed. So we got to get your mind right. That's the first thing.
Yeah, so it's all in the mindset. Start from there and then grow from.
Exactly.
What's your process? How do you work with them?
Well, it depends on the team, depends on the individual. So, because there's no one way to do anything for anybody, right? Human beings, I refer to them as human systems, right? These integrated system of mind, body, soul kind of thing. And these systems operate differently in the world, human to human, team to team. And so what do we need to do with this group of systems that's going to work best for them?
What kind of people are reaching out with you in terms of realtors? The stressed out ones, but what's the common denominator?
Team leaders, like somebody, yeah, it's the team leader. It's like, my team could really use some support. We did the keynote for the Christie's International Real Estate Expo, and we bring a very different kind of perspective, because again, we're not focused in real estate specifically. That's not our specific niche. It's just where we can apply kind of the magic that we have. This is a really great spot for it. And so, because look, the realtors are smart. They don't need another real estate coach. They don't need another sales coach. They know all this stuff, right? But success is a function of getting your psychology, your physiology, and your energy all working for you instead of against you. And so that's the kind of thing that we get called in for.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Tell us more about that, because the success is different things for everybody, but the way you describe it, you have to be in line. Tell us more about those.
Yeah, yeah. The way I said, there's no good or bad, there's no right or wrong here. There is aligned or misaligned. And where we start to realign these human systems is with their mental framework and with their physiology. And I'm not talking about doing sit-ups or anything like that, right? I'm talking about neurochemistry, right? If I can go into a team and spend even half an hour with them and really teach them nothing, but lighten the mood, have fun, make them laugh, I'm going to have a physiological effect on their brain. And I can do all kinds of, there are all kinds of tools and exercises that we can do to open the creative centers of the brain. And this is where the problem solving happens. You're not going to do this in big brain thinking. You're going to do this in creative brain thinking. Those are different brain waves, different parts of the brain. So I'm physiologically accessing different parts of the brain by doing any number of things. And so I'll go into a group and people say, what are we doing right now? This is ridiculous. This has nothing to do with our business, but it has everything to do with your neurochemistry.
Yeah, so yeah, the business and the mindset again brings us back to the same thing.
Right. Right.
And then how do people feel after they leave your training? Like what brings them value to?
They feel excited, they feel hopeful, they are considering ways that they can succeed even in a difficult market. They come up with amazing ways to have the same conversation when they're like smiling and dialing or something. We change all of the patterns in that. You know, when we interrupt the automated patterns that are going on in our behavior and in our psychology, that's where we can start to innovate and do different things.
Hmm. And then do you do one-on-one or do you only do groups and teams?
We do both. The way my organization operates is that we offer one-to-one coaching. We offer group engagements where we bring people from different walks of life and different careers into one container, one group, or we work with teams that are all housed under one roof.
Okay, okay. What advice would you give someone who's really stressed out right now and they don't know where to look, what to do? Like, where do they start?
Well, in the history of calming down, no one has ever calmed down by being told to calm down. So
Yeah.
that being said, calm down, right? So the first thing I would say is breathe. Okay, when breathing techniques, if whether it's something like box breathing that I learned training with the Navy SEALs, or if or any kind of breath pattern, really something that activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This is getting your physiology to work for you, right? So the first thing in calming down, control your breath. If you control your breath, you control everything.
Once you're in control of your breath and you're starting to shift your mindset, what are like three actions or three things that someone should be doing in order to be on the positive path of success?
There are some pseudo poetic one-liners I can throw out here. So let's see. Number one, when you stop listening to yourself and you start talking to yourself, you're going to discover that the script changes dramatically.
Yeah.
Right? When somebody's in that contraction mode, when they're in that, all the negative self-talk, that's really kind of listening to yourself. When you take dominion over that, when you put yourself in the driver's seat and you start talking to yourself, now that's going to have an effect on your brain. And you start saying things that, well, all right, I understand this is difficult, and what might be something I could do to move the needle in the right direction? There's a tool. I'll give you a tool. One of my favorites that we use quite a bit at my organization is what I just call Banana World.
Okay.
Banana World is, and you can call it whatever you want, but it's a world of the ridiculous, the fantastic, and the absurd. There are no real rules in Banana World. There is only an outcome and an action. So the outcome that you want and a ridiculous action that you would never actually do. But if you did it, it would produce the outcome. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. I was working with a client that was very stuck at work, stuck at home, stuck. And I said, let's go to Banana World. What is one thing you could do that you would never actually do? I'm not looking for a real solution. I'm looking for something dumb. What is one thing that if you did it, you would no longer be stuck in that situation? And she said, okay, well, I could fake my death and move to Costa Rica. Yes. If you faked your death and moved to Costa Rica, you would no longer be in that situation. True. What else? And she started coming up with just ridiculous idea after ridiculous idea. Now, if you do this enough, here's what happens. Here's the physiology and the science behind this. Because we're playing in this ridiculous world, this is not accessing the big brain, prefrontal cortex, big thinking. It's activating the creative centers of the brain. And so now what starts to happen is we got the creative centers lit up, we're driving dopamine because we're laughing and having a good time. And the more time we spend in that zone, we start to discover viable elements start to slip into the ridiculous answers. And so all of a sudden things start to make sense and we start to connect the dots. And next thing you know, you have a viable solution to what's going on in your world.
And then you can come up with a plan from there and action.
Right, great. How do we start? Okay, here's the solution. What's step one? Now what? Now what? Now what? And we lay it out.
Yeah, I'm hearing that's interesting in your wording. There was no but, it was an and. There's this
Yes.
and. Tell us a little
Yes.
bit about that. Why did you choose that?
Well, language is everything. If I put the word but in the middle of a sentence, you can pretty much delete everything up to that word, right? If I say, hey, I'd really love to have lunch with you, but I'm really busy, all I'm saying is that I'm busy and I'm not having lunch with you, right? If I say I want to have lunch with you and I'm really busy, that's inclusive. Like these are two things that exist and it changes the meaning and the nature of the sentence itself.
Yeah, very cool. I love it. Tell us a bit more about questions that are recurring that people come to you with, or situations and challenges that they have.
Yeah, the stress and how do I succeed in this market? It's very heady, very strategy oriented. They're looking for solutions. Being teetering on the line of being a coach and a consultant. The difference being that consultants have answers, coaches have questions. But so what we'll do is we'll answer a lot of questions with questions,
Yeah.
So when somebody says, what do I do about this? Say, well, what might be something you might do? Another one that I really like when somebody says they don't know, I say, well, what if you did know? What might be something? And then they just start rattling off answers. It's like the answers are all in there, right? So some of the questions that I would say are, what if you're wrong? If there's a statement like, well, what do I do about this? I can't do this and I can't do that. It's like, well, what if you're wrong? Like, what if there is a way to get around this? What if, we start exploring this stuff? We just dig a little deeper, that's I think the thing. I'm not sure I answered your question there. I go down the rabbit hole sometimes.
Yeah, most recurring questions. What do people come to you for? Yeah, you did.
Oh, well, people come to us for the seemingly impossible. Like we don't do the standard leadership development stuff. I don't deal with like really dysfunctional teams or petty tyrants and narcissists and that kind of thing. I'm too old for that kind of stuff. I'm not interested. We generally organizations or individuals come to us when they have an idea. They usually have an idea of what they want. They just don't think it's possible. They don't know how to get there. But if I were to share with you some of the success stories, they sound absolutely impossible. There's like no way that could actually be done, but we do it every day.
Nice. Do you have any success stories, examples?
Oh, do we ever? I'll tell you, I'll give you a couple. I had one client, she was one of our one-on-one clients. She said that we doubled her revenues, we eliminated her stress, and we saved her marriage.
Wow,
That took us 4 months.
interesting.
Now one that I've been talking about lately. There's a marketing company in Texas, and she said she wanted to grow the business and do better, and things were tight and stressful and all the things, but she had a lot of other stuff going on in her world as well. So we started working with her. The first thing, we got her divorced. She was in a 24-year marriage to a clinical narcissist. So we got her divorce signed, sealed, and delivered. We got the house. We got the house refinanced. We got her off of her anti-anxiety and anti-depression medication. She dropped 45 pounds. She tripled her business. And we did all of this in 13 months while she was moving 13 times through that entire ordeal.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So she would call me up and be like, okay, I got to meet with the lawyer and I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Ba, 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 right? And right, like we got focused, got centered. We got her aligned with the outcome that she was looking for, psychology, physiology, energy.
Yeah. I love it. Like from that example, you're touching on again the personal and the business because they are mutually related.
They're absolutely, because that's just the way the brain works, right? Like what we say is how you do anything is how you do everything. Because the brain is super lazy. It's an energy hog, okay? It takes a lot of energy to operate that thing. So like 25% of your energy goes to your brain alone. So the brain, in an effort to conserve energy, it creates patterns and templates to draw from. So it starts to see, well, if this situation is like that situation, then I can use the same template. And so if we fix it over here, then we fix it over there. So that's really how that works. So everything is integrated. If you have communication problems at work, you have communication problems at home. That's the way it's going to be.
I was gonna say, there's no way you can be in the funk at work and then be amazing at home or vice versa.
Right. When problem solving, I'll tell you one of the things is when you identify the problem, ask yourself, where else in my world is something similar playing out? Because if you can start tracking the patterns of things, then you start to get a better understanding of what's going on underneath the surface, right? Because what we say is the problem isn't the problem. It's the result of the problem. Like if you have employee retention problems, that's not your problem. That's the result, right? You want to grow your business 50%. That's not the goal. That's the result. Of what are these things the result? That's where we start doing the work.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. This is so cool. Any other success stories or examples you want to share?
Uh, I had a client, she had an HR consulting company. She had four goals. She said she wanted to take her six-figure business to a seven-figure business. She said she didn't want to work more than 32 hours a week. She did not want to be chained to a desk, so she wanted to be a digital nomad so she could travel all over the country. And then she said she wanted to find the man that she would someday marry. We did that in 9 months.
Wow, this is so cool. Love it.
Right? Now, I don't know if she actually got married. I don't know. I don't know, but I mean,
Found the
yeah,
man.
I don't know where the status of the relationship is now.
Yes. Wow.
But
Hmm.
this is the kind of stuff we do all the time. There's another one that was really stuck at work. She said she had never been her own woman. That's how she presented it to me. She was 40 and she had just turned 49. And she said, by the time I turned 50, I got some things that I want to have happen. Um, She said, I'm in a 15-year marriage and it's awful. She said, I've never been a homeowner and own my own place. She says, my dad is sick and I can't take care of him. And she said, I've stalled out at work and that's not going well. So fast forward, we got her the house. She's first time homeowner. We got her unstuck at work. She got a promotion and a raise and a bonus on top of that. She got out of the marriage and dad's in the house so she can take care of him. Right?
Wow.
That was about 9 months.
9 months. That's crazy. Like
Yeah,
the
you can live.
rolling
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
Reality itself is the end result of a system, and any system can be hacked if you understand how that system works. Like, I have clients that, even I actually, I think one of my favorite ones, not even a client. This guy was, his whole thing was all about physical fitness and weight. He's like, his dad had died like in his late 40s, I think. And he was like, I'm carrying like 30 extra pounds and I'm freaking out. My dad died of heart disease. And he says, I got two kids. He was in his mid 40s, I think. And, um, and we got him realigned over the course of a cheeseburger. Ironically enough, literally fixed this problem in about half an hour with a cheeseburger.
Amazing. That is crazy. That's so cool. Huge, huge, huge results for just,
They're massive changes. I mean, it is truly transformational work. I mean, I've done this for myself. I mean, that's the thing is, my biggest credibility is that I live this. I have made impossible things happen at several points in my life. I built this company. I started it because I didn't want to. My option was to learn how to become a commercial real estate broker or do this thing that I do now. And as cool as buildings are, I really had this crazy idea that I wanted to do, but I was broke and I was living out of my car at the time. So I like, so I said, okay, well, this is not nearly the dumbest idea I've ever had. So I've succeeded at way dumber stuff than this.
that's so funny. And then you use your own process. How did you learn that technique or how did you do training on that?
Yeah, well, it's a lifelong process of learning and discovery. I had to reorient my entire belief system from my childhood because that was an interesting, I was raised in a very privileged neighborhood in a very scary house. And so after a couple of failed marriages and making a mess out of my life, I realized that, maybe I need to get my shit together, right? So I had to decode and recode my system in there. But when I was 21, I wanted to be an NCAA ice hockey player, but I was failing out of school and I had never skated before. So not exactly a strong foundation to do that, but fast forward 18 months and I was leading the team into the state championships. I was the points leader that year. So
Holy moly.
there's a science to making the impossible a reality. And I learned this through, I did my education in spiritual psychology. I worked in the Neuroscience Institute of a hospital for a while. I studied and trained with the Flow Research Collective, the Flow Genome Project. I trained with retired Navy SEALs that are all mindset oriented. So this is a whole bag of things that I've done that led me to be particularly qualified to do what I do now.
You do. Nice. What's the best advice you've ever received? That
Don't give advice.
okay. Love it.
Because advice belongs to the person who has it,
Yeah.
right? It's like tools, right? So and the reality is nobody's really qualified to give anybody advice because that person is not living your, call it, spiritual path, right? So I'm not qualified to tell people what to do because that's their lives. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them to tell them what to do because that's the advice they're actually going to take.
Asking them questions too. And
Right. You have every question you have for your life, business, personal, or otherwise, the answer is in your head somewhere.
yeah.
So if you say, I don't know what to do, what I hear is, I don't have access to my inner knowing. So I don't have to figure out your answer. I don't even have to find your answer. I got to find your barrier and then I got to remove it.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't do advice. I tell clients, look, I don't want to hear about your childhood. I don't care. I mean, I know that sounds terribly insensitive. I don't need to dig around in your past. If you really want to know why you are the way you are, I mean, I can do that. But if we can skip that part, we can go a lot faster. And most of our clients are like, good, I don't want to talk about my childhood anyway. I've had enough therapy. I don't want to do it. Great. I don't want to hear it.
That's amazing. So don't worry about that. Remove the barriers you have now and move forward to have a successful future.
Right. Remove the barrier to your knowing. And then once you have your knowing, then how do we orient and align yourself with the outcome that you're looking for?
Yeah, this is super interesting. Love it.
Yeah, when you give yourself no room, when failure is truly not an option, you're going to find that you're going to succeed. I mean, it's just that's the way humans work. We are wired for success.
Wow.
So I don't accept failure. That's what I tell the coaches that work for us too. There's only two things we don't do in this company. We don't quit. We don't fail.
That's it. That's it. I love it. Very cool. So tell us, what are you looking forward to this year or in the future? What's coming up? You just did a rebrand. What else is happening?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more magic. I'm looking forward to putting more of this work out there in the world. I'm looking forward to growing this company and doing more and better work in the world and finding collaboration opportunities and see who else we can support. This organization has been, like, I'd say 80% of our clients have been women over the last 10 years. And so finding those opportunities to support the women's empowerment kind of stuff. I mean, I absolutely love those things because women are just fantastic at this work. I mean, they're truly miraculous. It's incredible because, the feminine is the place of creation. So that's, we're going to innovate a whole new life. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, I love it. This is so cool. Very nice. And where do we find you?
You can find us online, chrismking.com. People ask me what the M stands for. I jokingly say magic, but but yeah, chrismking.com. We're there. We do have there is a link specifically that we set up for your podcast. So it's just yeah, we have the / with your podcast, and they can go right there. You can put in the show notes, I guess.
Yeah, we'll put that link with the /Realtors Conspiracy podcast link.
Perfect.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. This was extremely interesting, and I'm sure lots of people will get value out of it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I love sharing this. Getting me to talk about it is really easy. Getting me to shut up is kind of a challenge. So, but thank you so much. You've been a very gracious host.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, make every action count. Reflect on the insights from today's episode and ask yourself, which strategies and actions can you implement to grow your business and win more listings? Your growth journey begins with a single step. What will yours be? If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your network and help spread the word. Together, we can inspire and empower a community of realtors to crack the code to real estate success. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Realtors Conspiracy. Join our growing community and start enhancing your real estate journey today. Subscribe and never miss an opportunity to learn from the best.